Hey guys, Jason coming at you again, code 0.5 with my co-host, Rich.
What's up?
Once again, a man of many words.
You know it.
Today's episode, what are we going to talk about?
I don't know, man. Oh. Dude, we had a guy dragged down the road by a horse. Like a mile.
By a horse.
By a horse.
How in the hell did that happen?
I guess they got out and I have yet to piece everything together. There's still some people that I need to talk to on it, but I guess they had got out and he was trying to help them get back to where they were supposed to be in the fence, and he had put a rope around it, not roped it, like cowboy, but like had put a rope around it, was trying to lead it, and it got spooked.
Yeah.
And the rope was wrapped around his foot, and it freaking drug him down like a mile. Poor dude, man. His elbow was like up in his armpit. He's still alive. He's lost
Drag him down a dirt road or
it started
concrete?
gravel. Well, no, it started out on asphalt, and then it changes from asphalt to dirt. And so he had the best of both worlds going that. Yeah, they're still digging
So he's
stuff
got all
out.
that damn road rash, and then
Yeah.
he's probably got rocks and dirt all embedded into it, but he's all right.
Yeah. He's had multiple surgeries, but like this last one was like, what do they call it, debridement? Or they're trying to get rocks and stuff out. Yeah, that one was crazy.
You said his elbow was up in his armpit?
Yeah, like it snapped his arm. That was pretty bad.
From being drug or to get stepped on?
I would only imagine that he was, wanting to try to stop himself, and just the force of it jerked back and it snapped his arm. But he's doing good. He's in the hospital. I talked to him today. He's trying to get back on his feet.
God dang, can you imagine?
Oh man, that'd be scary as hell.
Especially if it was for a mile. That'd be damn torture. Was the horse running or walking? Or?
This is running.
Shit.
Yeah, it got spooked and took off on him. Yeah,
And horses ain't slow.
No, it wasn't a massive horse, but it wasn't a mini horse. It was, regular horse. I don't know. I'm not a cowboy, so I don't know how you gauge horse size or whatever,
Yeah. I don't know either.
That's crazy. Luckily, though, he had somebody with him. And he was trying to, like, I guess you'd say wrangle them up or get them back to where they were going. He actually had somebody out there with him. And then after it happened, she was able to call 911. But that lady, she's kind of a mess. But
What do you mean mess? Is like after what she saw, she's messed up?
oh, yeah, she's messed up. That's been one of the things I've been trying to wait for her to be able to calm down so I can talk to her. It was pretty graphic from what I understand. She'd never seen anything like that before in her life, and it stuck in her head. But she had and I think I've only had like one call with her, but she was adamant that somebody was harassing her donkeys. Said that they had water guns the size of like shop vacs that they were dragging behind them, and they were spraying her donkeys.
That's a big damn water gun.
That is a massive water gun. And she was like showing me the video. She's like, she had it, CCTV, and it's like pointed out. And she's like, just wait till this car passes. I'm like, all right, car passes. She goes, they're right there. I was like, there's nobody there. There's a bush there. They're in the bush. Like, no, they're not in the bush. Like, there's nobody there. You didn't see him? He just ran. I'm like, no, there's nothing. Damn it, Rich. They're there. They're harassing my donkeys. I'm like, yikes.
And then you're like, and how much have you had to drink today?
Yeah, she was tipping back that day. She had to have been. She got mad at me for a little bit. But, I mean, I'm just glad she was there. Somebody was there with him, because if he'd been trying to do that by himself, dude, I think he would have been 10-7.
Well, how did the horse come to a stop? Was she able to get it to stop, or did it stop on its own?
I guess it stopped on its own. Yeah,
Man, I can't imagine what would be going through a person's mind. And all that he's going through, it's got to be some excruciating pain.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if he passed out from all that.
Oh, yeah.
You're hurting so bad and then just pass out.
And seeing that's what kind of what I gathered from talking to him. Like he kind of remembers, but he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
So I think he did. I think he did pass, which is probably for the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something you wouldn't want to. I don't think you'd want to remember that.
So is this how we're going with it today?
Oh, Sirius?
Yeah.
Oh man, Sirius is like,
Not as fun.
it's not as fun. It's just not. It's just crazy thing that happened. First thing that came to mind.
Yeah, usually this is more of a woe is me, look at what we have to deal with. Y'all shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Y'all shouldn't laugh at the stuff we have to go through every day.
Yeah. At least they get, they get to. We can't at the time.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of the time it's like, God, going back out here again today. I'm telling you. I thought I told you I didn't want to come back out here again.
And the guy's probably thinking when you say that, look, Rich, you and me both know you're going to be coming back out
Yeah.
here lots of times.
You know it. You already know.
We've got a new one that's been having us go out to their house lots of times.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first time I dealt with him was like last week. And I don't think he's been in town, but maybe a month.
Dang.
And he calls up, and they moved here from California.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought 5 acres, I think's what it was, or 10 or something. They've got like a garden on it, some rabbits, and like a couple of those tiny homes. So like this guy and his wife live there, and then his brother lives there. And they said between the 3 of them, they work shifts. Yeah, 8-hour shifts. Somebody's always on watch, like working security. So this guy, he tells me that his brother was working the overnight shift.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why he remembered this time specifically, but he said his brother told him at 5:55, some dude was walking down the road eating sunflower seeds and drinking a beer.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. And this is like, I can't remember what time, like 10 or 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So this happened like 4 or 5 hours before.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm responding to. So I get out there, and he's telling me this. That, yeah, his brother saw this, blah, blah, blah. And he was eating sunflower seeds, and he was drinking a beer. And he was like, I don't know what happened, but the guy either got upset or something irritated him, and he threw his beer bottle like in the direction of my brother. He said it didn't go very far because the guy was in the middle of the road. It only made it to like the edge of the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
He said my brother was like 100 yards onto the field or into their land.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so he wasn't going to get hurt or anything, but we were just wondering if you could come out here and get this beer bottle and collect the sunflower seed shells that are on the ground and run it for DNA so we can figure out who this guy is.
What?
And I'm okay. How do you keep a straight face when someone asks you this kind of stuff?
I mean, my first thing would be like, you're going to have to call Jethro Gibbs because I ain't going to be able to pull that one off.
Yeah.
You know, OSBI is good, but it's going to take them a little while, Dang.
Well, and then I couldn't see the sunflower seed shells that he said were supposedly around, but
Didn't have it
I
roped
found
off?
the beer bottle. No, not this time. I was out of police tape, so I couldn't do it.
I thought he'd have had it. I figured he would have been.
Well, no, I guess his security that they work doesn't do that great of a job.
Oh.
We'll have more coming up on Code 0.5.
If you're looking for a political podcast that goes beyond the headlines, check out the Beltway Briefing. I'm Howard Schweitzer, CEO of Cozen O'Connor Public Strategies. Every week on the Beltway Briefing, our team of former Republican and Democratic presidential appointees, Capitol Hill veterans, and political advocates shares behind-the-scenes perspective that cuts through the noise. If you want the inside scoop, subscribe now to the Beltway Briefing here or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, you said he was way back in the field and it's 5:55, so it's dark. So is this guy out there with NVGs or something?
I have no idea
did
if
he
he's
know?
100 yards away. But when I got there, the beer bottle was laying there,
Yeah.
and supposedly none of them drank.
Mm-hmm.
And there was sunflower seeds out there, and the beer bottle was laying there.
No footprints?
No, there was a gravel road. The guy was walking in the road.
Wow.
So,
That's going to go unsolved.
Yeah,
You're gonna.
I had to break it to him that, hey, I'm sorry, but it rained this morning and the sun's been beating down on that. Whatever kind of evidence is on those sunflower seed shells is probably gone.
You're gonna lose sleep over that one, I think.
Yeah, I know. And if we were able to figure out who that was doing that horrendous act of walking down the road, I promise you I'd do everything I could to make sure they went to prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Just walking down the road, drinking a beer.
And, okay, here's another thing. Okay, this is a public service announcement. It is not suspicious for somebody to go for a walk. I mean, I don't know if you have it as much as I do, but I will get numerous calls about a guy walking down the road. It's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. You can walk down the road. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I get that. I get those.
I mean, I had a guy that called in about a dude walking down the road. I get over there, and the guy, he's wearing like clothing that you would exercise in. And I saw him, and I was like, I just waved, and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm out here looking for a suspicious character." And he's like, "Well, I've been out here walking." He goes, "I walk every morning. I haven't seen anybody." And I was like, "Well, he's got on like some gray shorts, a red shirt, and white shoes." And the guy looks at me and then looks down, and he goes, "That's what I'm wearing." And I go, "I think you're the suspicious character." And he's like, "I've lived over here for like 20 plus years, and I walk nearly every morning."
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, "I have no idea, but you're suspicious."
That dude, if he's lived there that long and somebody's calling in on him, he's mad. He's big mad. He's like, this is my house. Like, This is my road. I walk. Who the F is calling in on me?
Yeah, this is my place. I've been here.
You tell them to call me. I'm going to talk to them. Jeez.
Yeah, so you got the heinous acts of walking down the road that, we get called about.
Yeah, walking down the road or like driving. The cars driving past their house. Like, I've never seen this car, and it's a black car. It'll always be, a black car or a white car. Whatever the most predominant color of car is, it'll be that. No driver info, no tag info, no nothing. It drove past my house. It slowed down. It drove past my house. Like, you think they might have been lost? Like, and then you find it, and it's like the Terminex truck looking for wherever it's supposed to be,
My favorite one was there's a red truck I got called in about, and he's driving real slow, and he goes in front of people's houses and slows down, and it looks like he stops, and then he keeps going. And I get over there. Well, the person, it had changed. The old rural carrier used to drive like a black vehicle. Well, this guy was in a red truck with his like flashers on, and on the tailgate of the truck it said postal carrier.
Oh.
So that was my suspicious character. And the thing was full of boxes in there, those little crates they carry the mail in that are white and says U.S. Post Office. It had those all in the cab and all. So, you drive all the way out there, and then you're like, why are people calling this crap in? You would think seeing somebody stopping at mailboxes real slow with their lights flashing. If they're stealing mail, they usually don't turn their hazard lights on.
Look at me. I got that. You get people who move to town, and there's a car, the dude that delivers papers. He drives like this older red Mustang. It's kind of like a metallic red finish, and he gets called in on. We'll get woke up early in the morning talking about suspicious activity. It's a red car, and it's got a yellow light on it, and it's going through and driving and stopping and driving and stopping, and it's just like, God.
It's got a yellow light flashing on the top of it?
Yeah, he's got a little yellow, little bubble gum light, He plugs into a cigarette lighter.
So people can see him? Oh, yeah. Because I don't know if you knew this, but criminals nowadays, especially the ones that commit larceny, they put yellow lights and flash and where you can see them to let you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Makes our job easy.
Oh, man.
Common sense. It's out the window. It's gone.
I don't even know.
That's what makes the job entertaining, and then also makes us wonder why in the hell we ever got into this.
Yeah. It can be frustrating. can definitely be frustrating.
Speaking of common sense, I have a lady call in. And, okay, like, I'm pretty sure it's OG&E does this. Whenever they replace their power poles, they'll lay them over on the side of the road. And then, like, if it was on someone's property, they'll contact the property owner and ask them if they want the pole. Or if they'll just leave it laying there and it's first come, first serve. If somebody wants it, they can have it.
Really?
Yeah. And I knew OG&E would do that. I'm pretty sure they do. Well, they're the Canadian Valley. They had a bunch of poles replaced. Well, this lady calls me and says, hey, these poles got replaced all through here, and there was 3 or 4 of them stacked up, and they were put here on the side of the road. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, well, I was going to get those, but somebody that lives down the road picked them up before me, and they took them first. And I was like, okay. I was like, how do you know down the road? And I go out there and look. Well, they had tied like a rope to it and drug them down the road. So you can see the scrape mark down the asphalt where they drug it to their house. I was able to follow it all the way to this guy's house.
A whole telephone pole just dragging it down the road?
Yeah.
That's
and he
one
did
way
it
to
with
do it.
all 4 of them.
Wow.
He'd grab one, drive it down there, come back and get the next one.
Heck yeah.
So I'm talking to this woman, and she's upset that this guy took those poles before she was able to take them.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I was like, did y'all talk to the electric company? And she was like, no, they just let you have them. And I was like, well, I know some of them do, but some of them don't. And she goes, no, they all will just let you have them. So I'm like, okay, hang on just a second. So I get on the phone and I call this electric company. Well, they're one of the ones that don't let people have them.
Oh.
They collect them and take them back to their yard, and they'll sell them for like $50 or $100. And they tell me that they pay like 10 times that, like $1,000 or more or something for that pole.
For a telephone pole?
Yeah, it's like 30 foot long
We're
or
in the
something.
wrong
and
business.
and then they have to attach that wire to it so that it's grounded and all that. And they said they pay like I don't know, it was a lot, and I was shocked at how much they paid for it. So she tells me, we don't give those poles away. The contractor, after they're done, they'll come back through and collect them, and they bring them back to our yard. I was like, okay. So I go and talk to the lady, and I was like, hey, I talked to the electric company, and she says that they do not give their poles away after they collect them or remove them. They set them on the side of the road, and then the company that installs them picks them up. And she goes, well, but the guys that installed the new poles told us we could have the old ones. And I'm like, well, they're a contractor for them. They can't give away someone else's property.
Right.
And I said, so those poles belong to the electric company, and they're not giving them away. And she goes, well, you need to go down there and tell that guy. And I said, I'm going to go down there and tell him that he needs to put those poles back. And she goes, okay. She goes, well, let me know when he's going to do that so I can go over and get them. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, ma'am. You're not tracking what I'm talking about here. I'm going to tell this guy to put those poles back because that is larceny and he can go to jail. That means if anyone else gets them and takes them, they will go to jail too. And she just kind of looks at me and she goes, but those guys said I could have them. Those aren't theirs to give away.
Right.
And I don't know how much clearer that I can make it. And what really blows my mind is I knew who this person was, and she's college educated. And I even broke it down for her and said, look, these are owned by somebody, and they said you cannot have them. So you cannot steal their property. They're going to be put back where they go, and do not touch them or you will go to jail.
So
Hey.
and she goes, so what you're saying is,
Yeah.
so what you mean is, I can have it.
So get this, okay? I go down to the house where those poles were drugged to. I see the guy. I'm like, hey, I called the electric company, and they said they did not give anyone permission to have those poles, that if they're not put back, like right now, that they want to file charges on whoever's in possession of them. And the woman I was talking to, she's like, oh, she goes, my husband's gotten them. He's done it before with blah, blah, blah. What was a different electric company. So I'm like, okay, I understand. But this one, they don't allow that.
Right.
That's their property. You got to put it back. So after I'm done talking with them, yeah, we understand, we'll do that. And I leave. Is either an hour, maybe 2 hours later, the original lady that called me out there for the telephone poles was upset because that guy hadn't put those poles back because her husband went and got the tractor so he could pick them up after they put them there.
Jeez.
She still didn't understand. She still didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this lady is basically calling me over and over and talking to me and begging for me to take her to jail. I couldn't think of any other way to explain it to her better. I was like, ma'am, those aren't yours. If you take them, you will go to jail.
But they said.
And she didn't understand that. And I even told her, I'd be like, ma'am, that would be like me telling your neighbor across the street that they can have your car. Mm-hmm. And he would say, well, but he said you could have that. Mm-hmm. I can't give your car away.
Right.
I don't know how any other ways to understand it.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So was that like an all day thing?
It lasted. I mean, I was there dealing with her for maybe an hour, but then later on I had to take the phone call from her over the same thing. And it still it blows my mind at the stuff that people will say.
Yeah.
So basically this lady called in and was upset because somebody stole something before she could.
Yeah,
and she wanted me to have them put it back so she could steal it.
I saw a call one time, and it was for another agency, and it sticks out in my head because it was at a tribal complex, and somebody had apparently pulled up over there and was taking rocks. I guess those decorative rocks. It was, and that's what it said. They needed an officer because there was somebody taking rocks. So it was a larceny of rock. And it just like you just pull up to the tribal healthplex where there's these decorative rocks, and you're just like, oh, I like that rock. I think I'll take that. And then you're like, of course they're trying to stop it off in, like a Honda Civic or something, trying to use a big old rock in the back in the trunk. It's insane.
We had, I can't remember the name of the road that the county goes through and dumps new gravel on the road. This guy goes out with his tractor, scoops it up, and puts it in his driveway.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how many loads of it, but he had quite a pretty wide path that went fairly far up into his driveway that he has new gravel in there.
You just keep putting it out here. I just keep picking it up. They're going to give it away. I ain't paying for it.
But we went out there and we talked to him. We're like, okay, what sense does this make that you can take the gravel from a public roadway and use in your driveway?
Well, they just left it there.
I mean,
they didn't want it. They dumped it on the ground.
The guy ended up putting it back.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean,
All of
his
it?
driveway is all jacked up and looks like hell now because he was scraping it all and everything, but he dumped it all back in the road.
Yeah.
But he didn't get it smoothed out and all, and the county had to go back and fix it. So I mean, they could charge him for that, for having to spend the fuel and the labor and to get the road fixed after they had already fixed it once.
Mm-hmm. That's like the what is that stuff they usually put it up over by the bridges and stuff, but it's like that asphalt that they chunk up.
Oh yeah,
yeah. In my travels, I have seen. Outside my jurisdiction, but in my travels, I have seen people with 5-gallon buckets, getting buckets of that stuff, and I'm like, it's just there. We can have it.
You're talking about when like they chip up the roadway that was there, and they're going to re-pour it or whatever, and they put this
the big
old
piles
stuff in the
of
side.
Old stuff to the side, yeah.
Yeah, I had a call where they're redoing the highway out there. They had. I guess like scrape, and it cuts all of it up and turns it into like pebbles, and they pile it up, Somebody went over there and took a whole bunch of that, like tons of it, and put it on like their private road to their house.
Oh.
And I didn't know what the people had done with it. Anyway, we ended up charging this guy. But that stuff that they chip up and pile up, they will use that as the base or the foundation for the new road that they're building.
Yeah, recycle.
Yeah. And this guy was, I mean, he was pissed to high heaven because this guy took it. And you can follow the tracks where he had driven and everything, and you can see where he had dumped this stuff because his road washes out. But this stuff he dumped was so small, it had like downpoured rained after that, and it washed it all away. So it didn't do him any good anyway.
Yikes. Yeah. You need to go by and see if she's got her some telephone poles.
Oh my
I bet she went and got them.
Probably. And
bet
you know,
she
I
would
wouldn't mind having some of those.
What the heck would you do with a telephone pole?
I've seen people build them like if they have their area fenced in, they'll have them at the entrance. They'll have like use
big
them
old
as
thing.
they'll cut them and use them as a post to put like their gates on and all that.
I see.
They can make them look pretty nice.
So
but
you're gonna build you a teepee? Big old teepee.
yeah. But anyway, I think it's time for us to get off here.
Yeah, because I'm at a loss, man. The whole horse thing, it just
Yeah,
messed me up.
guy's lucky.
Yeah, that messed my mood up.
But anyway, guys, we're going to jump off here. Don't forget to visit our website. And if you can, go to our Patreon. The link is on the website. It's right there on the homepage. You can get on there and make a monthly donation. The minimum we have is like $5. If you want to do more power to you. And then we have the Buy Me a Coffee. And I can't remember what the other one's called. It's like Ko-Fi or something. It looks kind of like coffee, but it's the same thing. And you don't have to. I mean, that's purely if you guys want to. You don't have to do anything like that. But if you do, we appreciate it. And as always, we enjoy you guys listening to the show. We'll see you next time.
I'll see ya.